Welcome to Human OS Mind Your Health Rewired, the show that unpacks the hidden systems driving your symptoms and empowers you to heal from the inside out. I'm your host, Dr. Connie Chung, and after decades of inside the healthcare system and outside of it as a patient, I've learned this: that health isn't something you chase, it's something you remember. And if you're ready to rewire your body, reclaim your power, and rise above the outdated health norms, you're in the right place. Let's get right to it. Hey everyone, welcome to our podcast called Mind Your Health Rewired, where healing isn't about doing more, but about operating differently. As you know, this is Dr. Connie Chung. I hold a lot of degrees and certifications in the realm of wellness and health, including Doctor of Physical Therapy, Masters in Nutrition. I'm a registered dietitian, and I am a board certified functional medicine practitioner through the Institute of Functional Medicine, as well as I have the highest practitioner level training, as well as founded the School for Yoga through Yoga Alliance as well. And not to mention many of the continuing education and certifications that I've had just out of pure curiosity and out of my need to know more to be able to be more effective in my approach to healing. So I just want to kind of lay out the foundation for Human OS. Many of you have seen me talk about Human OS as the new evolution of functional yoga medicine. I just really started to really think about in my darkest of times where I had to go to that deep place in my heart to ask myself, what did it take for me to pull myself out of all the obstacles that I was facing? Because I don't think any human being deserves to go through what I went through, but thank goodness I was able to be equipped with all the tools so that I can go through it. And I'm not saying I'm through it yet, because as if many of you know, I still have the challenges of kidney failure, and I have to go through the training or treatments for that. And I'm on the waiting list to receive the transplant, or kidney transplant specifically. And I've been called many times. I do have a very difficult blood type, and it's going to be a hard match for me because they rate you on a PRA score, and I'm already O type, which is universal donor. I have a family of 6, but I'm the only O in my family, so my family were out. And I did have one of my clients, as well as she's become one of my trusted friends today. She's donated a kidney on my behalf, so I do have the living donor option. But because my blood type is so difficult, I'm on the deceased list as well, and I've been called multiple times in the last, 4 months, 5 times, and 4 of which they told me, pack your bags. And at the last minute, they would pull out and say, no, it's not a go because of your blood type. The second test didn't pass. I finally made it to the operating table 2 weeks ago on a Monday. And it was an abrupt situation. And the doctors cared enough to do further testing to figure out why I was rejecting or being rejected, as the donors were a match for the virtual match. But for the physical match, it was a no-go always. And so they started to do some research, and he found some revelatory things. So he asked me, either way, we have a kidney for you, come in. And I made it to the operating table only to be told there was a little nip and cut in the vessel of that kidney, which implied that it was damaged, and he didn't want to put it in me because he would not put it in himself. So all that to say, so thank goodness that that didn't happen, because I've already had a failed transplant. And I do believe, and I will say it openly, upon retrospect, I do feel like there was some undeniable medical neglect, and there was a lot of things that I feel like happened that the practitioners really didn't take full control or responsibility for. And I was the receiving end of that. And so today, as a practitioner before you, I do want to educate more of you to realize that no matter how many credentials we have, we live in a world where our bodies really, no matter how trained and how many degrees and letters after their names they have, including myself, its human body is full of miraculous biochemical reactions, as well as genetics, epigenomics, and all the things that goes into neuroscience that affect and influence the health of our body. So with that being said, it's in your best interest to rise above and utilize a formula that I'll be sharing, because it's a tried and true method by which you can pull yourself out of the most grueling and most unthinkable situations like I had to do. It wasn't easy, but obstacles do help you to mature, or it helps you to stay the victim, and it really tampers with your mind. No matter how positive I was, even before this crisis, I realized how much I just took for granted and how much self-neglect there had been. And so I live and approach my life very differently today. And I talk a lot about through Human OS that it's not about just shifting and changing, doing a little better, a little different, a little more of something, because that never changes you, but that you have to go through this internal transformation. And that process is something that we all need tools for and a map by which that takes us there. Because when left with everything, I have such loving family and friends that care deeply about me. What a blessing for me. But I can't tell you how many times you're just left with the weight of the situation. And that weight of the situation is your life and it's yourself. And it's the loss of your self-identity that goes with this whole process. And so I reach out to those of you who are going through some hard times with your health. But I just want to tell you that it's something that we can take responsibility for and do better by not just changing a few things and following what I'm saying, but internally being guided by your truth and your heart to get to what you need to pull from yourself to get to the next level. And I called that really the upgrading of your human operating system, just like the Apple computer. Like I have a MacBook, and if I don't update the software or the hardware from time to time and upgrade my hardware and software, nothing works. And I know that I've had to upgrade my operating system from before kidney dialysis to now. And then I realized I didn't even know this, but the most effective changes were these pivotal moments of my life, including a big move from graduate school to Georgia, and shortly after getting diagnosed with lupus, that hit me really hard, and to live with that. And so I've had to shift and change all the ways of my being and saying goodbye to my old self, and then developing new ways of being with the new situation that I had to handle. And then 12 years after that, I've had to then go through a divorce process, which was very difficult and very, very hurtful in many ways. And I had to figure things out as a single mom of two most amazing boys, and the resilience that it took. But that was another operating system upgrade, because I wasn't the same person who was just the victim of this terrible marriage versus towards after being a single mom and then just owning my decisions no matter what the consequences were. Those were some times when I realized in retrospect today, because the last 4 years I've had to go through the kidney failure, and it happened so suddenly. I can't even tell you how fast that happened, because my kidneys did not fail slowly and progressively, but it failed like within probably 6 months time, start to finish. I just was so sick. And then that nightmare never ended, because it's now 2025, and this whole process started at the brink of me getting the COVID vaccine in 2021. And that was a pivotal moment where everything changed for me, is the COVID vaccine. Now, there's a lot of people that are going to say nay or yay about what I'm saying about that specific vaccine. But I will tell you, for me, I don't believe in vaccines because I was never the same after that. And I know my body, and that's what happened. And so I'll be very honest about my reservations about it. And I know many of you live with the vaccine and you guys are doing fine, and that's great for you. But for me, I wasn't so fortunate. And so I have a 17-year-old and a 21-year-old who has not gotten the vaccine, and I do not want them to get the vaccine because I just fear that we have genetic makeup where we can't tolerate the vaccine. So we're going to go through the process of breaking down the process of Human OS. Because yes, it's easy for me to say upgrade your nervous system, but when you're going through the crisis, whatever that may look like, it's hard to focus on the thing you need to do. No amount of positive mantras or dinners out with your family and friends would help anything, because when you come home, you're left with the truth of where you are. And unless you address it straight on, there's no way that you can go through it. I will tell you this, it's not easy, for sure, but it's the only way through so that you can rise above. And when you do, it's all worth it. I live a very purposeful life today, and I'm very clear about who I am, what I'm here to do, and I really don't sweat much about what anybody's opinions of me is, versus before it was all about that. Right? Just my reputation, my image, and all the things that goes along with it. But I no longer do that because it's not something that lights me up. I'm only about my truth. So I hold a very small group, tight knit, and I don't let many people in because I'm an introvert. And I feel like this has really opened the doors for me to be very intentional in my life about spending the time with the people that I care about. And there's this enriching experience when you're surrounded by those who share the same values. And I've been very methodical about just stripping away all the unnecessary people and things in my life that don't serve me anymore. And it was all out of necessity. It wasn't anything out of vindictiveness. There was no resentment, although those were things that I had to address of the root of everything that that I was feeling. But that's another subject, another podcast altogether. So today we're going to talk about the 3-step process, and I'm going to sort of tell you what is going on today and who I am and why I'm doing or why I founded the Human OS. And I feel like it's going to be the revolutionary tool that we all need as human beings to be able to better ourselves and rise above the challenges of living in this technology advancement world where it's taking all of our critical thinking abilities away, because you and I both know there's a lot of information on ChatGPT. Ask it anything. And so a lot of my professional degrees and certification is no longer the same, but I'm going to kind of step by step show you sort of how I formulated this Human OS through my experience and through my perspective, so that you can kind of see and understand and you decide if it resonates with you. Okay. So the first step is decode. Second step is rewire. And third step is rise. Simple 3-step formula for Human OS to upgrade your nervous system. Okay. So the whole premise to that is you cannot address the same problem that you caused in the same state of being. So you have to upgrade your nervous system. So I had to upgrade my nervous system or operating system from pre-kidney failure to post-kidney failure. If I didn't, it's not a matter of doing a little better, a little more, a little differently. I had to really find a new way to be so that I can make sense and find purpose and leverage my knowledge in a way that serves me, okay? And finding my truth. So decode. the crisis of losing leverage. Let me share with you. There was a morning not too long ago when I opened my eyes and felt the weight of something I couldn't name. It wasn't exhaustion. It wasn't sadness. It was something more haunting. It was the quiet ache of irrelevance. I looked at my life, doctor of physical therapy, registered dietitian, functional medicine practitioner, yoga therapist, decades of experience, thousands of hours. I founded the yoga school and I did all the certification I felt necessary so that I can be the best and provide the best. Letters after my name were gained, lives were changed, and yet, all around me, the world had shifted. Now, the loudest noises weren't the most seasoned. They were the most viral. Knowledge had become content. Certifications were overshadowed by charisma, nuance, lost to noise. I watched people, some well-intentioned, others opportunistic, packaging bite-sized healing into 15-second reels. Trendy tips, buzzwords, aesthetics over embodiment, and I felt it in my bones. They've made something sacred feel disposable. What I had spent a lifetime building, this body of real, lived, earned healing, suddenly felt invisible. And it wasn't just ego, I assure you. It was grief. Grief for a time when depth was valued and education was respected. Grief for the practitioner I used to be. Grief for the version of me that thought credentials were enough. But then something cracked open. Maybe I'm not here to compete. Maybe I'm here to transmit something that can't be copied. Something that's lived, felt, and known in the bones. Nothing flashy, but undeniably real. So that's the decoding process for me to go through for the situation that I find myself in today. And then there's the rewire process. And then the premise here is that the truth, AI can't touch. Here's the thing. I've lived through things no algorithm can teach. Things that didn't come from books or trainings, but from breaking open and building again. I became the patient. I sat in a dialysis chair day after day, tethered to a machine just to survive. I watched my body swell, my energy disappear, all my muscles that I worked so hard all my lifetime start to get mushy and disappear. My certainty unravel. I couldn't fix myself with protocols. I couldn't will myself to wholeness. I couldn't outsource my safety anymore. No amount of effort was enough anymore. And that's all I ever knew. I know how to work hard. I know how to be disciplined, but that wasn't enough. That's when I reached my end and I had to upgrade my operating system. In the sterile hum of that room, dialysis room, I learned something no credentials ever taught me. That information is not wisdom. AI can teach sequences. Social media can show you how to tone your core or cook this or that. But who's teaching people how to feel safe in their bodies again? Who's teaching people how to digest their grief? How to honor their shutdowns? How to reclaim themselves from the inside out? How to hold the pain and feel what you need to feel to rise above? That's when I stopped leading with my degrees. And I started leading with my experience and presence and with heart from the places I've walked barefoot, through pain, through illness, through identity collapse and resurrection. Many people have left. They wanted just the bling bling flashiness of all the images that I tried to portray before. Health, wellness, perfection. But that wasn't who I was anymore. I was in pain. I felt deeply broken. No amount of pain or no amount of effort was going to get me out of this, or no amount of knowledge. And that's how Human OS was born. A system not built on theory, but rebirth. Not designed for practitioners, but people like you. whole, raw, wired for survival humans looking for a way home. Because healing isn't about doing more. It's about operating differently. So that's the rewiring process. And then the third part is the rise. You are the leverage. So no, I don't feel behind anymore. I don't feel threatened by AI or Instagram trends or influencer aesthetics. In fact, I don't even compare myself to any of those things. Because my body of work, it wasn't downloaded. It wasn't regurgitated. It was earned in the fire. Blood, sweat, and tears. I didn't learn it. I had to become it. And functional yoga medicine isn't just a method. It's a reclamation. It's for every healer who's ever been told they're too intense, too emotional, too spiritual, too woo-woo, too much, too different, toned down. It's for the healer or teacher who brings trauma-informed care into spaces that only value flexibility. It's for the practitioner who sees people as whole systems, not just checklists, and for their liability protection. It's for the practitioner who truly cares and is in it for the heart. It's for the patient who's been told, this is just how it is. You're this and that, namely their diagnoses, and still dares to believe in something better. We're not here to hustle for our worth. We're not here to prove ourselves through popularity. We're here to rise, not because the world gave us permission, but because we remembered who we really are. So I just want to invite you to come home. This episode stirred something in you. If it did, you're not alone. You're the reason I built this work, specifically for you. You're not just a body trying to feel better. You're a whole, wired, and sacred system ready to come back to your original rhythm. And that's what Human OS is for. Start with the reset. Your nervous system will thank you. It's in the link below. You can join our yoga teacher training. It starts in September if you feel called to teach the truth. Or you can also apply for FYMCP, Functional Yoga Medicine Certified Practitioner Program. It's powered by Human OS. And if you're ready to become the medicine, that's what you do. The links are all below. I just wanted to drop your next paths here. And this is the work I'm doing. And I just want to tell you, you're not too late. You're right on time. So let's rise together. And I thank you so much for giving me this time and just listening, and just be staying tuned or subscribe here. And you can follow me on Dr. Connie Chung, both on YouTube as well as Instagram. And then, of course, you can subscribe to our podcast, Mind Your Health Rewired. And again, this is Dr. Connie. Thank you so much. Share this episode with anybody who needs something to hold on to, especially in the darkest of times, who's going through that right now. And see if we can work together to rise. Remember, it's decode, rewire, and rise. And we leave the past behind, the old operating system behind. No more effort. It's to ease into who we truly are. And that's the work that I want to promote. And that's the work I teach you how to do, because it's a lived experience. Thank you so much. Mind Your Health Rewired here, Dr. Connie. And I will see you all next week. Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to Human OS Mind Your Health Rewired. If something you heard today sparked a shift, share it with someone you love, or tag me at Dr. Connie Chung so we can spread this mission together. To explore programs, trainings, or resources to support your healing, visit hossystems.com. And remember, you're not broken. You're brilliantly wired for healing. You just need the right operating system. Until next time, keep